say that you're a student. You've always been tired when you go to school, and suddenly you receive great news. School has been shifted to half an hour later, and that should mean that you get half an hour more of sleep. The next morning, you wake up later, and you feel refreshed. However, what you notice that when you get home, it's half an hour later than you usually do. When you finally finish doing your homework, you go to sleep, thinking that you'll also wake up less tired the next day. However, the next morning, you are just as tired as before the change was implemented. So what happened? I believe that we should reject the bill that all school classes should start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. because of two reasons. Either the bill will have no solvency or it will give students less instructional time. First, I'll be talking about the fact that it has no solvency. Students will simply stay up later if school starts later, because in 2016, the Seattle School District has tried this by shifting its school start times from 7:50 a.m. to 8:45 a.m., which is an increase of about an hour. However, a before and after study found that if at all students had slept more, they only slept more for about 30 minutes, which is half the time. So this means that even if students sleep more, only half of that time is spent on sleeping more, and students will simply stay up later if they do it at all. And this is because if school starts later, school has to end later. If school ends later, then students have to start on their homework later, and if students start on their homework later, they have to end their homework later. That means that they go to sleep later, therefore it has no solvency whatsoever. Students will sleep the same amount of time. However, you might be thinking, if we just not increase the school end time as well, then students will be able to sleep more, and that solves the problem, right? Wrong. Students will receive less instructional time if that happens, and so no matter which way you interpret the bill, it won't work. Students will have less time at school if we don't increase the end time of school as well, which means less learning time. And less learning time is bad because clearly if students aren't learning enough, then they might not get the education they need, and that can lead to a lot of problems later in life. For example, they might not be able to apply to certain high schools or colleges if they didn't learn all that they needed to learn, and some jobs may require a lot of education, and if students have to miss classes that they should have had every day, then they probably won't get all that education that they needed to get. So clearly, this is why I believe that we should be rejecting the bill that all school classes must start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. because shifting school start times to a later time will not help students at all. It will either not solve any problems or it will take away from their learning time, and this is why I believe that this bill should be rejected.